Hey there guys, I'm back to another video. Today I want to talk about something that I honestly didn't think I would be talking about this week because I already talked about it on my podcast called the Travis and Damien podcast. I talk about gaming stuff, superhero movies, sometimes anime. I do it with my best friend Damien. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anchor.fm/Travis Damien podcast. Quick little plug. But yeah, we talked about it on the latest episode, episode 32. And we were like, hey, you know what? Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC. That's super dope. Like, we were like, that is cool. Like, that is nice that this game that is kind of old at this point, it came out in 2017. Now it's 2020, it's 3 years old. It's coming to PC. That's cool. So earlier this week, I was on Twitter and I saw that people were being kind of weird, that like they were being really upset that this game is not a PlayStation exclusive anymore. And they are like, hey, you suck, this person on Twitter that is the head of the PlayStation Worldwide Studios. Like, you suck. You betrayed PlayStation, this and that. And I was kind of just like, you guys are really this upset? Like, it just seems really, really weird and really, really odd. And I kind of like did more research on it, and I kind of like made a whole list of notes on like thoughts on like what I think and like my argument and this and that. So I'm pretty sure you could tell like what my stance on it is. And yeah, this is like really dumb to like get upset that like you are losing a exclusive, especially one that is this old and like not really like that tied to PlayStation all that heavily compared to other IPs that you could honestly be super upset about if they were to be ported over to PC. Like, for example, if they were to port over PlayStation flagship IPs like God of War, Uncharted, Last of Us, Ratchet and Clank to PC, or even like other platforms like Xbox or God forbid Nintendo or something like that, like you can get upset about that honestly, because that seems really weird and really strange for PlayStation to do that. And that is just like out of nowhere, out of the blue sort of thing. But when it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn, it's a relatively newer IP. The game came out in 2017. The game's only 3 years old, so the fact that it is coming to PC, I'm more okay with that because it is not a old IP. It's not super tied in with the PlayStation legacy, where losing this game as a PlayStation exclusive isn't that big of a loss in my eyes, sort of thing. So if you guys know me, you know that I make a lot of YouTube videos where I talk about my thoughts and this and that. So one day in 2016, I decided to make a video where I was complaining that Wii U games were getting ported over to the 3DS, and I was like, "Why, Nintendo? Why? Like, why are you doing this? Ah!" And I kind of just like vented out my frustration, like, Nintendo, like, you are losing like your Wii U games, like your Wii U exclusivity, like Mario Maker and Yoshi's Woolly World. Like, those were like the main two games that were getting ported over, and I was like, "Why are you doing this and that?" And like after I released that video, got me a lot of dislikes, a lot of hate comments, and I was just like, you know what? I kind of need to like open up my brain and like use it and sort of just like realize that, hey, you know what? When games move over to other platforms, it is good business wise and it is also good consumer wise. So I kind of just like flip my entire stance on that around, like 180, like complete 180. I am fully with Nintendo. The fact that they did decide to abandon ship with the Wii U and decided to port the games onto the E3DS. And you know what? When they started porting games to the Switch, more applause to them, honestly, because that means more people get to experience Wii U games that were exclusive to the Wii U that are now on the Switch, like Bayonetta 2, Donkey Kong Country, New Super Mario Brothers, and a plethora of other Wii U games that are now on the Nintendo Switch. So you know what? Applause to them. My stance is obviously on, you know what? If you can port it over and it makes sense, do it. Because it's good business wise, because that means more money in your pockets, and that means new software for a certain other platform, like whether it be Wii U to 3DS or Wii U to Switch, or you know what, PS4 to PC. You know what, more people get to experience your games, and that is where I get to the consumer side of things. More people get to experience Horizon Zero Dawn, guys. This game is 3 years old, and if you haven't played it at this point, you probably, weren't all that interested in it to begin with. But hey, if you have a PC and you don't have a PS4 for whatever reason, whatever your situation may be, you now get to experience it on your PC without having to buy a PS4. So that's great. And now, if you never played the game before, you never even touched Horizon Zero Dawn, it's now back in your spotlight because it was announced for PC, and now you could be like, hey, do I want to buy it on this new PC version, or do I want to buy it on the lesser expensive PlayStation 4 version? And now you get choices. You get to choose, guys. That's pro-consumer. That's so nice, isn't it? Because when you are pro-consumer and when you are thinking about yourself and what other people can experience, that's when like competition thrives, and that's when you as the consumer also thrive. So the fact that people are harassing the head of the PlayStation Worldwide Studios, Herman H., is just really weird and really funny and just stupid, like entirely. Like it just makes no sense that these PlayStation fanboys don't fully understand what console exclusives like really do. So like I said, this title is more than 3 years old, and people get to experience it more. And just to give you like a really like quick like timeline of like Horizon Zero Dawn and like the price point that this game has been at. So when it launched at $60, and it launched around the same time as Zelda Breath of the Wild. 2 open world games on 2 different platforms, but they were still competing against each other because people had to choose if they wanted to buy Horizon Zero Dawn or if they wanted to buy a Switch and Zelda Breath of the Wild and sort of like start whichever open world game they wanted to start. But later that same year in 2017, December, they released the Complete Edition, which they launched it at $40 with everything, all of the DLC and all of that stuff. So you know what, guys? You guys got the full game, the full experience for $40 that same exact year, and it was still exclusive to the PlayStation 4. And then guess what they did afterwards? In June of 2019, they slashed that $40 price in half by making it a greatest hits. Now it is $20. So now you can now experience it on PC later this summer for probably $20 to $40. There's no price point on it yet, but if I had to guess, it's probably going to be $20 to $40. I would be very shocked if the game launched on PC for $60. The Complete Edition, because that would make no sense because the game is kind of old, and if you wanted to play it, you've probably already bought it on the PlayStation 4. So yeah, like brand loyalty and just being like super like loyal to a certain brand and company is just not cool and really dumb and really stupid and kind of toxic, especially if you have a Twitter account and you don't know how to really use it properly. So yeah, and I fully understand that exclusives drive console sales, like without a doubt. Like Nintendo's been playing this game since Nintendo's been Nintendo. Like Animal Crossing, New Horizons, it just came out, right? Like, if that game was on other platforms, people would play it on other platforms, like 100%. But because it is only on the Switch, people will buy a Switch just to play Animal Crossing. Without a doubt, there's going to be a handful of people on Animal Crossing's release day, which was yesterday, and they probably bought a Switch and Animal Crossing just to play Animal Crossing. And you know what? That's what Nintendo wants, because that is their business model. They're like, hey, we got the games, and you know what? It's only on our platform. So guess what? You gotta buy our platform. So that's good for them. And you know what? When it comes to PlayStation, Last of Us, Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, like people bought PS4s to play this game years ago, back in 2017, back in 2018, probably people bought PS4s just to play this game. But nowadays, you're probably not going to buy a PS4 just to play this game. You're probably going to buy a PS4 just to play like, Spider-Man or something else, like something exclusive to the PlayStation 4 that is still newer. You're not going to buy it just to play Horizon. So it coming to PC kind of makes sense now. It's kind of a old PlayStation 4 game at this point. So I can't believe people, or I'm not sure if people got mad at this, but when Death Stranding was coming out last year, right before it came out in November, Hideo Kojima announced that yes, there is a PC version and it is going to come out in June of 2020. So if you don't want to buy a PS4, just to play this game, you can buy it on PC in 2020 if you have a PC strong enough to run this game, sort of thing. And you know what? That probably hurt sales at launch, but that was definitely a pro-consumer choice, because if they announced it afterwards, he probably would have got a lot of shit, just like Horizon Zero Dawn is, despite Horizon Zero Dawn being an older game. And that is still crazy to me that people are really this upset about it. So one of the arguments that I saw on Twitter, that I will post a screenshot on your screen right now without the username or anything like that, the reason why they don't want exclusives moving to other platforms is because if there are no exclusives and every game is available on every platform, the quality of games will plummet. So I don't see how this argument makes any sense whatsoever, because game companies will still create great games no matter if they're exclusives or multi-platform. Like, game developers are still going to make great games. For example, Rockstar is not tied to any platform whatsoever. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, that is one of the best games of that year, and people played it on Xbox and PlayStation 4. And if it was tied to a certain console, like if it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, the game wouldn't have been any better. The game would have been the same. It's just that it would have only been available on a certain platform. Like, it actually makes no sense for you to fully say that if every game was available on every platform, games would get worse in quality, because that just doesn't make sense, and that is just not true, because there are so many multi-platform games that are super duper good, and it's not just Red Dead and Rockstar games. Bayonetta 1, like when that game came out, that was a great game. There are several other multi-platform games that I can't name on the top of my head right now, but there are so many multi-platform games that people will buy year in and year after year, like Call of Duty, sports games like NBA 2K, FIFA, etc. Like, games that are multi-platform can still strive as good games. You don't have to be an exclusive to be a great game, sort of thing, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, like when the Tomb Raider reboot came out, that game was a timed exclusive for Xbox. Now, obviously, we knew that it was a timed exclusive, but if you wanted to play that new Tomb Raider on console, you had to get the Xbox. So, just because it is a timed exclusive or a exclusive entirely doesn't make it a better game. It just means that you have to buy a certain platform to play said game. So, yeah. That's all I really have to say. Just let people enjoy games for what they are. If they are coming to other platforms, as long as it makes sense and it's not like super tied to a certain brand or company, like it makes sense. Like, Mario is going to stay on Nintendo platforms because that is Nintendo's mascot, Nintendo's #1 IP. He is going to stay on Nintendo. When it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn, it's a relatively newer PlayStation IP. I don't mind it jumping ship to PC, but still staying as a PlayStation console exclusive. That still makes sense to me, But if it was like God of War or like Last of Us coming to PC, now that's when I kind of have to be like, whoa, you gotta you kind of can't do that. I mean, like, they can, but like, you really shouldn't do that, sort of thing, in my opinion. For that specific example. So that's where I'm going to end there, because I think I've said enough. Just let people enjoy video games. Please be pro-consumer. Think about you as the consumer, as what you would do, sort of like, hey, now I get more choices to play other games, on these other platforms, etc. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys haven't already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up on Saturdays. Follow my social media, Facebook and Twitter. I put updates on my future videos. My podcast, like I said, anchor.fm/Travis Damien Podcast. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many more. Check it out. We talk about gaming, anime, superhero movies, etc. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching this video once again. I'll see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.